Guys, when you give your life over to Christ and you decide that enough is enough, and you know that it's time to put the world away, to walk away from the world, and to begin your new walk in Christ, be prepared to lose everything. I'm not saying you're going to lose everything, but you got to be prepared and just know that it's coming. You will lose things, including relationships, okay? And glory be to God. Give God all the praise and the glory for that. It's nothing to lament over. All praises to the Most High God when He begins to separate the wheat from the tares. If you're anything like me at this point, you take reading the Bible seriously, and you're not perfect. You don't read the Bible every day. Maybe you have started reading the Bible a little bit more as you become more and more disciplined, and understanding that, reading the Bible is like a daily practice that we should all take on as Christians. But as you begin to start really taking the Bible seriously, you start to put, the puzzle together. And when you really are taking the walk seriously with Christ, you understand that you're set apart. You understand that you must live set apart. You're part of a body that is going to be peculiar, different, not the same as everyone else. The world wants to kind of manufacture everybody and put everybody through the same machine, and so that way this machine spits out the same type of people, the same kind of look, the same kind of, everything. And as you start to turn away from that, you start to realize how fake that is, and how superficial the world is, and how unfulfilling and unsatisfying it is to remain lost in the matrix. Okay, because that's really what it is out here. It's the matrix. And furthermore, as you begin to walk with Christ, you also begin to come to terms with the fact, and you learn that there are two sides to this thing, because this is a spiritual battle, spiritual war going on every single day. You're either on the good side or you're on the bad side, period. Like, there's no middle ground. There's no end of story. There's no more to that. There's only two sides. And actually, if you are somewhere in the middle, you're not in the middle. You're on the side of evil. So that's something that you kind of have to, a lot of people don't want to admit. That's something that people really need to come to terms with, so they can go ahead and make a decision already. If you're not on fire for Christ, you're serving the devil, you're serving Satan, you're serving his kingdom. And you need to just accept that. You need to accept that and call it for what it is. Call it for what it is. If and when, you do take the time, if you ever take the time to change your life and give up these worldly ways and give your life to Christ, you will see clearly that, when you were living in the world, you were on the kingdom of darkness. You were fighting in the kingdom of darkness, whether you realized it or not. And that's what's so sad about a lot of people. Some people know that they're fighting for the kingdom of Satan, and a lot of people just don't. They're ignorantly walking in sin. And that was me. That was me, because, deep down and, deep down inside of me as a person, I'm a good person. I have a good heart. I've never have been a person that was, had it in my heart to, be an evil person or do evil things on purpose. Like, that's never been the kind of person that I ever have been. But, these days in our society, we're not really taught the truth about God. We're not taught the Bible. We're not taught, how we're supposed to walk, what our character and behaviors are really supposed to be spiritually, fruits of the Spirit. We're not taught that. We're taught very superficial, what we're taught, like what the world, what's important to the world and what's important to the powers that be. And for the most part, it has nothing to do with anything that benefits us spiritually. Actually, in the world today, everything is sort of opposite of what God wants for your life. It's opposite of what's important to our Lord. You know, everything is sort of geared towards, you know, status, money, fame, material things, everything superficial, even food, just everything that could be used as a weapon against us. So, you know, circling back to, you know, why I'm even making this video. Be prepared to unlearn everything that you've learned. You know, there's a lot of videos out right now that are talking about the same thing. And every Christian, every person who gives their life to Christ will go through this. You will have to realize what you're doing in your life that you no longer can do. And actually, you know, you will get to a point to where you naturally want to stop doing this stuff. You know, you naturally want to stop, you know, doing everything that, you know, categorizes as sin, everything that can open you up to, you know, demonic forces and, you know, disasters happening in your life, because that's exactly what happens, you know, when you're not living right, when you're not living righteously. Again, even if you're unaware, demons have the right to attack you, you know, and actually the worse the sin, the more that they're able to attack you. So, you know, a lot of this is, you know, like I said, unlearning basically everything that you have learned in your life, and seek a new way, seek your own way. You know, and I'm not saying seek your own way like MGTOW or, you know, going your own way or anything like that. But I'm talking about getting away from the world. I'm talking about, you know, okay, taking what you've learned from the world and saying, okay, I have what I've learned from the world, and that's great, and that's knowledge that I could, you know, pull from at any point, you know, when I need to. But now I'm going to seek something deeper. Now I know. Now, you know, there's more that I don't know, and I'm going to go and do what I can to seek and to find out what I don't know and what I need to do to become a better person. I know that there is a God, and I need to find out, you know, how I can, you know, how I can rise spiritually, how I can advance in the spiritual world, and hopefully we all have that goal in life. Some people don't. But you will know who you are, you know, when it comes to that point, and you'll be ready. You know, you got to be prepared though, because sometimes like it'll come as a shock, you know, what you'll actually end up losing. And for example, relationships, you know, you're going to be living a completely new life. Christ requires you, God requires you to live a completely new life. And, you know, the fact is, people in your life right now are not ready to live that life. They're not going to be going with you. They can't go with you. It's all about, you know, this is a lifestyle. This is a walk. This is something that, you know, this is not just something like you can just do on Sundays. I've mentioned that before in one of my older videos, that, you know, your walk with Christ is literally a daily thing. It's like a minute by minute, second by second even. Like your connection to God is like something that you just don't turn off, okay? Like you just don't turn it off. And that requires you to change your behavior, change your speech, change your actions, change your wardrobe, change the people that you're hanging around. And it's not because you have anything against those people or you don't love them. It's just the fact that, you know, and the Bible speaks about this, and you know, in a lot of different areas. How can two walk together except they be agreed? You know, two people cannot commune with each other that are going two different ways. If one person is living holy or aspiring to live holy and really trying to live holy, they're not going to be able to mesh well with someone who's not doing that, or who's not ready to do that, who doesn't want to do that. It's going to be a constant clash of personalities. It's going to be a constant clash in general. So God will, even if they're in your life, you're like, okay, well, where are they going to go? God will remove those people. You're not going to know how it's going to happen. You're not going to know when, but you will start to see people falling out of your life, and you have to be okay with that, because in reality, those people and those things, those activities or whatever vices that you have that will naturally, hopefully God, will work on you, but they will naturally fall out of your life. They will naturally fall out of your life. And when that happens, you need to be prepared to let that go. You need to be prepared to let them go, because it's not your place. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility to try to drag people with you and try to force them to change and make them do something that they don't want to do. And you gotta just love people from a distance, and let people exercise their own will, because God gave everybody free will to make their own decisions. And, it's okay if they don't want to. I pray that everybody, when it comes to a juncture like this, to where, it's like, well, which side am I gonna be on? I pray that everybody across the world is enlightened. You just know that's not going to happen, right? Because where we're at today, in the world today, these are the last days. We can see it all around us, when we're out in the matrix, in our modern world society environment. It's a mess today. These are the last days. And even though it's the last days and everything's chaos, people still have a choice. They still can choose to live a destructive, chaotic lifestyle, a life of sin, a life of working for Satan, a life of being used, actually. Those people are actually being used. Whether they know it or not, whether they agree with it or not, they have a choice to do that. And for you have to maintain your integrity. You have to maintain, your holy character now. And, I can't think of anything better that I'd want to be doing with my time, to be honest with you. I can't think of anything better that I would want to be doing. And, furthermore, I don't want any energy around me. I just can't. I can't afford to have energy around me that is doing something opposite, because, I know, and all Christians know, that this life is so temporary and so short. And by the end of my life, I want to be able to stand in front of God. I want to be able to, at my judgment day, I want to be able to present myself holy. I want to be able to say, and to show that I did everything that I could while I was living with the life that He gave me. That I did, what I believed, based off of what I learned in the Bible and what I learned from the Bible, basically. Okay. At the end of the day, it all boils down to what is in the Bible. I want to be able to say and show that I did the best that I could. And let's just be real. The people who are not doing that, the people who are not walking that walk, they're not doing the work. They're not putting in the effort. They're not changing their life. They're not walking the narrow path. And that's going to be a distraction to me. That's actually going to be something that's going to derail me. And, it's something that, I feel sorry for the people that are on that side of things, because, all it takes is the choice to do, to live holy, and to, make the decision that you're going to learn what you need to do, let the things fall off that need to fall off, and then start living right. So I don't have time to continually, feel sorry for people or whatnot, or just, keep throwing my pearls at the swine and things like that. Like, that's my energy, and I have to save that to make myself holy and pure. and, you know, present myself, you know, holy to God every single day. Like that, this is an ongoing journey. It's a job. This is work. This is, you know, and I'm not saying that I don't enjoy it, and that, you know, it's not like, I'm not saying it's not something that I don't want to do. It is something that I want to do, because actually in reality, it makes me very happy. And, for you Christians out there, you will know that when you are actually doing this work, when you're actually, you know, living the way that you need to be living on God's standards, you have more peace than you've ever had in your entire life. Like you have more peace now. You have more calmness and just a sense of surety about your life now that you never had before. You know, nothing in this world from Satan, you know, or man-made could give you the same feeling. Literally nothing. Literally nothing in the world that you think that is going to help you to feel better, or to relieve your stress, or to, you know, to help you cope with depression or anxiety or anything that you're coping with. Nothing can do anything for you like God can. And I'm only able to tell you that because I did the work. I'm doing the work, and I'm able to stand on the other side of, you know, of the fence here, because I used to live worldly. I was very, very worldly before, and I got delivered from that. All praises be to God. Okay. All praises be to God every day for that. And I would never go back. I don't plan on ever going back. There's nothing I need back there. You know, it's done. I came to the end of myself, and I was pushed towards the end of myself so far, to where I had nothing else left but to reach for God. And thank God that He waited for me to wake up, and He was right there waiting for me when I woke up. And once I realized the power of God's love, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, what have I been doing with my life this whole time? Why have I wasted my life this whole time? Why did I wait till, you know, my late 30s to take, you know, Jesus and my Father seriously? Like, and, you know, there's no coincidences, and God's always on time. But what if I would have given my life to Christ when I was, let's say, my daughter's age, right? Because I was talking about this in my last video. They're learning about God so early on, because with my walk with God, like, any child of mine is not going to have a choice but to, like, have a relationship with God, just because, like, that's my rule as a mother, right? Like, we go to church, and we follow Jesus Christ, and we do all the things that, you know, requires you to be holy, and all the things. So, but how far could I have gone? How far could I have been spiritually, and just, you know, in all ways, if I would have had, you know, been doing this my entire life? So they are so lucky to be able to, you know, to do that now from an early age. And so, guys, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Don't stress. Pray for the people that hurt you. Pray for the people that can't come. You know, sometimes it's going to be really hard to forgive those people, because, you know, a lot of you have been hurt by people in your lives who have done wrong against you, you know, when you really didn't deserve it. And now you've given your life to Christ, and it's like you guys have been pushed apart. There's been a wedge that's put in between you. God put that wedge there. So thank Him for that. Thank Him for that separation, and get to the point, you know, like truly, truly deeply, like, imagine yourself being in front of that person right now, and how would you truly react to that person? How would you really, really, truly react to that person? You know, would you still love them? You know, and I'm talking about an agape love. I'm not talking about a romantic love, because I'm not saying, you know, you need to go back to your people and to your person and, you know, forgive them so much to where, like, you guys are in a relationship. I didn't say that. I'm not saying that, and you probably shouldn't do that in a lot of cases. But you still need to forgive that person, and you still need to treat them like a human being, because, you know, at the end of the day, people, when they do things wrong, like I said, they're being used. And it's not really them that you have a problem with. It's the demons inside of them that you have a problem with. So rebuke those demons. Rebuke their demonic behavior. and pray that God delivers them, from whatever stronghold is holding them back, and pray that God have mercy on them, because they don't know what they're doing. Even Jesus prayed on the cross for all of the people who did him wrong, all of the people that made a huge mistake by crucifying him. And he prayed for all of them as he was dying on the cross and said, Father, please forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And you need to get to that point as well, and love them from a distance, and pray that, God will deliver them, and that they can make it to heaven one day, or they can make it, they can sanctify themselves, really. They can sanctify themselves and have a relationship with God just like you do, because there's nothing more amazing than that. There's nothing more amazing than, realizing the love of God and what you've been missing this whole time, and the changes that you can see in your life. You're not going to see the changes until you really do this. And it's going to take some time, but it's so worth it. And a lot of people might be wondering, okay, well, it's too much work, bro. Like, that's very immature of you. It's very immature of you to not do the work on yourself, because this is self-work. Actually, this is self-work on yourself. This is self-love. Do the work, seek what you need to seek the knowledge. You're not God. There is only one God, and he gave us a Bible. And even if you don't believe that right now, you still need to read the Bible. You still need to keep an open mind and read the Bible. And once you read the Bible, then really read it. Don't just read and skip the scriptures, and pick and choose and all that. No, you have to. So put your life on pause for the next 5 years. Okay. That's what a person would do when they're really serious about growing. Okay. Because 5 years will be gone anyway. You might as well use it for your self-development. Pick up the Bible for 5 years. And I guarantee you, I literally guarantee you, not unless you're just like directly spawned from Satan, okay? But I guarantee you that 99.99% of people will be converted to, Christianity. And they will believe that Jesus Christ died for their sins. And they will become baptized and renewed in the Spirit. I guarantee you that if you really read the Bible and you really take the time, and really pray. But anyways, I don't want to get off on any more tangents, because I could talk about this all day. But you can do it. If I can do it, you can. And I'm not the only one. There's so many other of us out there, even though we're scattered all around. And you might not have anybody in your direct vicinity that is doing, that is seeking and that's living right. But you can do it. You don't need anyone. You need God. That's all you need. And he will give you all the strength that you need to do this. I did it. You can do it. We're all doing it. We're all here doing it. There's plenty of resources out here for you. There's plenty of mentors out there as well. Find one, find one that's going to speak life into you, and let that life be, in you, and let it encourage you. Let the scriptures encourage you. Okay. I love you so much. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. And if you liked this content, please leave me a comment. I would love to read your comments, and share this video with someone. If you think it's going to help someone, I would love to hear that, you shared it with someone, or someone found it through, someone shared it with them, whatever. Subscribe, like. I will see you back in the next video, and I pray that you have a blessed day. God bless you. All praises be to the Most High God.